If you've seen my earlier video about Disney live action lobby cards, you know that this particular one from In Search of the Castaways is one of my all-time favorite Disney images. And in today's video, I'll show you another of my all-time favorites. See if you can guess which one it is. It's definitely not this one, but this program from Disney on Ice leads us to today's subject, because before Disney on Ice, the very successful stage show and very popular, there was a precursor to that particular show, and that was the arena show known as Disney on Parade. So we're going to take a look at this unique touring Disney stage production through some of the artifacts, if you will, that were created to go along with it. There were 4 editions of Disney on Parade, the first of which was in 1970. And of course, along the way, there was some merchandise, such as this wonderful coloring book. The coloring book pages show Mickey and the gang getting ready to put on a show. Here they are arriving at a city auditorium, because the show, as I mentioned, was put on in arenas, auditoriums. Sports centers had to be quite large because a lot of people wanted to come see this very successful show. By 1975, 25 million people had seen it, and that's a lot of people. So anyhow, we have wonderful art of the Big Bad Wolf, Little Bad Wolf, the 3 Little Pigs, Cinderella. This is divided into acts, just like the show itself was. Each act focusing on a particular story, or maybe some characters like Mickey and Minnie. Another tie-in is the Sticker Fun book. It is fun indeed. Of course, in the usual style, you can push out the stickers, stick them into the pictures where they belong. And of course, these were published by Whitman, who at this point in the 70s had their new logo. And just as you can see, it's the Disney characters putting on this show in, again, some kind of arena. But the main memento that was produced, and one that serves as a real treasure for us today, were the programs. And this is for the 2nd edition, which, as you can see, centered on Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. So you could buy this at whatever arena or facility that was showcasing Disney on Parade, and it's a wonderful memento of the show you've seen, and serves an even greater purpose today, because for those of us who never saw it, it's a glimpse of what it must have been like. So there's some really wonderful photographs here. This is the opening Alice in Wonderland themed introduction, which brought out all the Disney characters, and there were so very many in each of these Disney on Parade shows. Here's the Pinocchio act, really, and you can get a kind of a glimpse here of how spectacular it was and beautifully designed. There was a Fantasia number, as you can see here. Absolutely beautiful, and these photographs really seem to capture it. And what was also great about these programs is they showed behind the scenes photos covering the staging, the costume designs, the choreography. There's also credits back here, and they are very interesting in themselves. Speaking of choreography, they really went all out for this, because it says the production is staged and choreographed by Anna White, and she was the award-winning choreographer. She was honored with a special Oscar for Oliver, and she also choreographed the movies Bye Bye Birdie, The Music Man, 1776, was nominated for multiple Tonys. She also did the choreography for Disney's own Pete's Dragon in 1977, not all that long after this. We can also look at the other credits and see a real lineup of Disney legends here. The Disney Creative Supervisors Ward Kimball, Bill Justice, of course, designed the Disney character costumes, show content, which is really the story and the action, Ted Berman, Albertino, Rolly Crump, Roy Williams. So there's a lot of great legendary names associated with this. So one of the things about Disney on Parade is that they were being very, very creative, and that led to some really fun and novel weirdness, you might say. For example, one of the acts was the Barnyard Bash. And then, not surprisingly, because he was a huge Disney star and still is, we find the Love Bug with Goofy. So that's lots of fun. One thing that always bothers me is that when Herbie appears at Disneyland or in a parade or in a show like this, someone feels the need to give him eyes and eyelashes. And of course, we all know he's a Volkswagen that doesn't have eyes and eyelashes. He has headlights. But somebody must have thought that was a great touch. I would say that's not plussing, it's minusing. But as I mentioned earlier, the really big deal about this particular edition was Snow White. So there's a really spectacular adaptation of the film with all the wonderful songs. One of the contributors to the program is Marty Sklar, and there's this really wonderful tribute to Snow White at the beginning, and undoubtedly he wrote it because it's so fantastic. Let's take a look at another one. This is from the third version, which, as you can see, is 1973, and the kind of centerpiece of the whole thing is Mary Poppins. The Mary Poppins film was re-released to theaters that year in celebration of Disney's 50 happy years. It was really being celebrated in every way in the Disney universe. But again, we have just some wonderful photographs of more Pinocchio, of the different acts and sequences of this very elaborate stage show. And here are the Country Bears from the Country Bear Jamboree, such a big hit at Walt Disney World when it opened in 1971, a huge hit. And it's really fun to see those great Country Bear characters. Even a little bit of Mark Davis art down here. Always a welcome treat. As mentioned, Mary Poppins is kind of the showstopper of the show, and a very, very elaborate adaptation of the movie with the wonderful songs and dances. And of course, they were committed to having Mary Poppins fly. If they were going to do Mary Poppins, they were going to do it right. So the apparatus that allowed Mary Poppins to fly, it was very, very expensive. They spared no expense to make that happen. One of the great things about this edition is there was also a Bedknobs and Broomsticks act, a roaring 20s version of the beautiful briny sea underwater sequence, and some really unique weirdness, one might say. But very imaginative and fun. If you saw my earlier video on Viewmaster sets, you know that Viewmaster had the Disney license for many years, So they did a packet on Disney on Parade, and here it is. Really fun to see these amazing stage acts in the three-dimensional format of Viewmaster. And what I think even a lot of Viewmaster collectors don't know is that there were two Disney on Parade editions of the Viewmaster set. Now, again, if you saw my earlier video, it's not that unusual to have two sets of a certain topic. Examples from that video were Happy Days and the Dukes of Hazzard. If there was more than one set of a particular property, such as Happy Days, the second set was given a separate title to separate it and make it easier to understand that there was more than one. Disney on Parade? No. The two different packets have exactly the same name, Disney on Parade. They couldn't even call it packet number 2, as they did so imaginatively with the Dukes of Hazzard. This particular set that is in my collection captures the action and the color and the spectacle of the first edition in 1970. And then the second Viewmaster packet covers the 1973 edition featuring Mary Poppins. So if you want to see these, and why wouldn't you? They're just wonderful. Be sure you see both. So earlier I promised that I would show you one of my favorite Disney images, and here it is. This is just great. I'm sure you agree. I mean, take a look at that. Really one of the best pieces of art ever done in all the years of Disney. It ranks way up there in its greatness. One of the talents credited, I believe in all the programs, is Disney legend Bob Moore. So I am certain that this is a Bob Moore piece, this painting of Mickey being a great showman, and with the lights, it's as if he's floating above the stage show below, or maybe outside the arena saying, "Come one, come all." But it's really one of my favorites. This first program is really one of the best. Showing, again, the different acts, but also some wonderful side photography, if you will. Alice in Wonderland is presented as a ballet with these spectacular costumes, so that's really a treat. The Jungle Book is very psychedelic, so they went all out for kind of a late 60s, early 70s vibe. And again, behind the scenes, very fascinating. You may have noticed that I only have 3 programs. There were 4. The 4th edition of the show centered on Sleeping Beauty and is another great program. We'll show you a picture of it, but it's not in my collection. I only have 3, so I'll have to get the 4th one someday because, of course, Sleeping Beauty is one of my favorites. And they really did what looked like a spectacular adaptation of that wonderful film, no surprise. Each of the programs has this very interesting introduction that was written especially for each edition. And again, I'm sure it's written by Marty Sklar. So I'll end today's video by reading to you a little bit of this. It's so wonderful and is called, very appropriately, In the Disney Tradition. Through the years, a whole family of Walt Disney stars has paraded across the screen. Cartoon shorts introduced Pluto and Goofy and the incomparable Donald Duck. From the pages of storybooks to the new dimension of feature films came Snow White, Pinocchio, Peter Pan, and many more. When television arrived, Mickey Mouse and the whole wonderful world of Disney made new friends in new generations around the globe. And then at Disneyland, Mickey, Pluto, Goofy, and all the rest stepped right out of the screen and became so real you could actually touch them. Now, another new dimension has been added to the world of Disney entertainment. For the first time, scores of the characters Walt Disney created have not only come to life, but have traveled to your hometown and are here tonight to sing and dance and entertain you. As Walt Disney said, we are interested in doing things that are fun, in bringing pleasure and especially laughter to people. It is in this spirit, in this great tradition, that Disney on Parade has been created. How wonderful is that? And it does make the point that, especially when there was just Disneyland, really how many people could go to Disneyland and meet the characters and see the characters in person. So Disney on Parade was an effort to bring those characters to your hometown, as the program said. So we'll end with those wonderful words and this wonderful image. I'd like to thank you for watching today. Just a reminder to please like and subscribe, and to join us next time when we'll have a watch party of Watch the Skies, A Boy's Life, and Paradox. See you then.